Allow us a moment to depart from the depressing state of current entertainment from one forum and move over to the other. While we focused on movies and television quite a lot in the past couple of days, let's look at video games right here and how depressing this is. Okay, now listen, I wasn't one of those doomsayers to say that, oh, the price was too high and oh no, everybody, they were going to have the stiff upper lip this time around and gamers were going to fight back. Said it, you can go back to all of those videos, okay, and it's like the Switch 2 was going to sell it on day one, and guess what? It absolutely did, even though pre-sales were limited, or the pre-sales got pushed off in the US and in Canada. How's that work in Canada? It doesn't make a goddamn lick of sense, but no, they sold out in the UK and abroad and other places where, yeah, even Nintendo on their website, you had to have an invitation to buy, and same thing with Amazon. So yeah, even if you were sent an invitation, if you were too late to get a pre-sale, you weren't lucky enough to be one of the early adopters. But that just shows, man, that Nintendo, they have very strong fans. That's something that, very much played into the fact that this is going to be a big hit. It's just, I don't know about the legs of this one, okay? And that's the problem, man, because I'm seeing this for the larger gaming industry and the knock-on effect that this is going to have, and that's why I'm just not really depressed, because you always knew the gaming was greedy. Okay, just take a look at the free-to-play models, and then if you want to just go ahead and stare down your bottle of black pills for a moment, just take a look at how much money Fortnite generates, and also why, Rockstar isn't exactly that pressed to announce a release date for GTA 6. Just take a look at how much money GTA 5 generated last year, a game that is, 13 years old at this point in time? Yeah, exactly. Innovation doesn't necessarily need to be a friend in video games. If you can just continue to milk the same old formula, it will continue to print money. What is the stuff that is always at the top of the sales charts every single year when we do a wrap on this stuff? Madden, NBA 2K, all of those sports games that get derided for the same type of stuff. Oh, it's just basically a roster expansion. But normies eat that shit up. Call of Duty for a while, for as much as it was called slop, they would at least innovate. They would at least have a bunch of added value in there. You would have your campaign. You would have either zombies or what was Infinity Ward doing, especially with Modern Warfare 2. They used to have these, I forget, just little objective-based missions that you could do offline. And then, of course, the very extensive multiplayer side of things, where games would ship with 12+ maps. But now you're lucky to get a full campaign. You're lucky to get zombies or its equivalent. But hey, you can go and buy a skin of masculine ass Lara Croft, and you can play Warzone next to Cody Rhodes. And gotta hate gaming at this point in time, but I sincerely hope everyone who wants to play the Nintendo Switch at launch, got their pre-orders done last week. Nintendo offered pre-orders in a very strange way on its main website, and for those who weren't invited to make a pre-order through Nintendo itself, will have to hope and pray that they could get on through, retailers instead. Yeah, Amazon is sold out, Walmart is sold out, every other big box retailer that is still doing physical media, they're all sold out. You can't get your hands on a pre-order right now, okay? But yes, June 5th, when the Nintendo Switch 2 launches worldwide, Nintendo is saying it's fine, okay? Or at least, I thought I seen something that's like GameStop said that, we're not really anticipating that much of a crunch when it comes to units being available for sale, but we're going to have them in stock. It's just, how long are they going to be in stock? And I've been through a fair few number of console launches, okay? Not just Nintendo specifically, but just recalling everything. It's not my earliest memory, but my parents, always used to watch, and still to this very day, for the most part, still watch the 6 o'clock news. One thing that is just drilled into my memory, okay? I think it was ITV back when, prior to their CTV. Did they become CTV or did they become global? I'm getting bogged down in the weeds. But they were doing an expose in 1999 for the launch of the PS2. I remember that just vividly. Okay, just the lines around the block going into West Edmonton Mall. Okay, for people trying to get their hands on it, getting in at midnight, and it just being a stampede fest back in the cut. I've seen that time and time again. And people, I was working at Best Buy at Christmas when the Wii was still hot. It wasn't when it was first released. This would have been, Christmas of 2008, 2009, something like that. I think 2008. Every day, every single day. It's like, you guys got Wii? No, we don't. Okay, but we got Wii Music in here. Don't worry, you can get yourself all the copies in the world. Like, that was back ordered to hell and back. A lot of games are always available for the Wii, but not exactly the console. And because we couldn't get our hands on that stuff, what were we told? Oh yeah, just try to sell all of these parents on different consoles. Like, we get a bunch of 360s, we get a bunch of PS3s. Don't worry about that. You know, if the kid wants a Wii and Mario Kart, you could just try to sell them on a PS3 and MotorStorm. That is totally the same thing. Don't worry about it. They'll be happy with that. Which honestly, you know, the MotorStorm games were pretty good, but for Nintendo fans, like, you need to have your first party Nintendo products, and that's the way that it's gonna go. Because yeah, this thing is gonna be huge, but in the long term, I don't know, man. You even got the shill sites coming out going, there's no reason to buy a Nintendo Switch 2 at launch right now. Because yeah, honestly, like, I'll go back to that Nintendo Direct from a couple of weeks ago. I was very underwhelmed and was very much reminded of the Wii U reveal. Yeah, focusing a little bit too much on tech, and hey, look at the games that we have. It's like, yeah, cool. You got Mario Kart and a 3D Donkey Kong. A 3D Donkey Kong, and Donkey Kong is an IP. For as much as I love Donkey Kong Country, that shit don't really move units, okay? Like, it's one of your lowest performing IPs. You would have been better off trying to focus on, you know, Metroid Prime, another series that just doesn't move units. But yeah, you got Mario Kart World, which is $80, which is exactly why buying and supporting this product off rip and in an extended period of time, like, obviously, okay, for June and for the summer, the Switch 2 is going to be a huge mover. It's just, what's the availability towards Christmas? What's it going to look like in the second half of the year? Once all of the cultists get their hands on the system, what are the normies going to do with that, depending on your part of the world? Either the $500 price tag, if you want a game included, what are they going to do with that? And then you add all of your overpriced accessories on top of that. How are you going to leverage an $900 console, okay, with a couple of games and a couple controllers that's in there, okay? For as much as you might think that, oh, actually, guys, my game prices and my inflation, you might be able to talk your way through circles on the internet in order to try to do that, but you're trying to do that to parents out there, okay? The people that are buying this stuff for their kids for Christmas, how are you going to try to rationalize that? You can try to say that, oh, actually, there were Super Nintendo games that were like $80, so actually games have never been cheaper. You can continue to try to do that, but that shit ain't going to wash. And this is going to be just about the last year to do that, okay? Because where things go from here, it's, yeah, it's not great. Because Nintendo slammed for $90 Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild re-release price on Switch 2. Yeah, because you can buy the original copy that is on the Switch, and then you can get the upgrade pack, yay, that they're offering for select games that it's going to offer, I guess, better FPS, because they've shown, and it's just absolutely hilarious. I've seen the comparisons. Hey, take a look at this. Here's it running on a Switch, and here's it running on a Switch 2. It's the Office meme of corporate's asking you to tell us the difference between these two pictures. They're the exact same picture. Oh, no, but trust us, bro, it's totally better. Probably the most egregious example that I had, and if I would have had a little bit of foresight and thinking that I was going to go down this path, I would have brought it up. But just the comparison, right? Because they announced, okay, that Final Fantasy VII Remake is going to be coming. Okay, Final Fantasy Remake, they had just turned 5 years old a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, it's going to be coming to the Switch 2, and boy howdy, it's going to be running better than that 5-year-old port. It's going to run equivalent. Oh, but it's going to have better lighting mechanics than the PS4 base model. Wow, that's quite a feather in the cap that you have for a console right there coming out in 2025. It can perform about as well as something that came out in 2014. Good stuff right here. And you're charging how much for it? Oh, right. Yeah. Good stuff, Nintendoids. You're really supporting a company that has the best of the industry in mind. Nintendo is facing a wave of backlash after confirming that The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild Nintendo Switch 2 edition will not include the game's post-launch DLC. I beg... What? You don't even get a complete product, and you can pay $90, despite carrying a $70 price tag for an 8-year-old fucking game. Yeah, that's something else that I brought up. It's like, okay, cool. You want to charge $90 for a game. How about, back in the day when Nintendo had Player's Choice editions for games, for some of their best-selling stuff, they would come back and they put it out on the market for like $30, $40, whatever it was equivalent at the time. Like PlayStation had the greatest hits. I've got quite a few greatest hits titles from the PS2, and going all the way back to the original PS1. I'm pretty sure all 3 of my mainline Final Fantasy games have that green spine that's on it. And then, yes, for the PS2, you had the little red hallmark up there at the top, the little bunting that was there that said greatest hits. Okay, Gran Turismo A-Spec, and maybe even GTA 3 in my copy of Vice City. I don't think Vice City, but I'm pretty sure for GTA 3, it's also the greatest hits. But yeah, you used to do that stuff because then you could re-release these products down the line at a dropped cost for another wave of sales. But no, we don't do that anymore, or at least I haven't seen, and I'm pretty sure there aren't really that many titles, especially on like the PS5 and specifically over on the Xbox Series, whatever the hell we're calling it at this point in time. Yeah, nothing's really sold that well to inspire a greatest hits or a platinum hits. I'm pretty sure that's what it was called over on Xbox to bring that stuff back. But yeah, Player's Choice. I mean, I don't know why the Switch didn't do any of that stuff to try to revitalize interest in these old ass games. But no, this is price gouging. Okay, like Breath of the Wild, it got supplanted in just about every single aspect by Tears of the Kingdom. And if you were going to be so bold as to put out Tears of the Kingdom for $90 on Switch, I'm sure that there would be Nintendoids just grabbing their ankles in glee about receiving that Nintendick for the privilege to play a game potentially at 60 FPS. But the game said, they said in the presentation that it'll do up to 140p at 4K. It'll be great. Or 144 FPS, sure thing. The confirmation came via a statement to IGN, which Nintendo clarified Breath of the Wild Switch 2 edition does not include Breath of the Wild expansion pass DLC. That DLC is available at a separate purchase. So, okay, $90. $90 will get you visual and performance upgrades such as improved frame rates, HDR support, and faster loading times. Yeah, I seen a comparison of the loading times. Ooh, was that for Breath of the Wild or was that for Tears of the Kingdom? It was a few seconds faster, mind you, but not like $90 faster. Okay, players who already bought the original Switch version can upgrade for $10. Newcomers must buy full price bundles for $70 or $80 depending on the title. Only Breath of the Wild among confirmed re-releases has any substantial DLC, but don't worry, they'll be making other announcements based on the success of re-releasing an old-ass game on a brand new-ish console, and they will continue to milk you for all it's worth. But the rest of the industry, is in fact paying attention, because the Xbox, Microsoft is looking at, there were some patents that were out there for them potentially doing a handheld, but at this point in time, it's like, are you guys going to stay in the video game making space? Because we know that you have Game Pass, right? So like you might be able to continue to put slop on your service, but we've also known that the bubble is bursting when it comes to streaming in general, and the growth of Game Pass, it's kind of stagnated in recent years. So are you guys even going to be in there for the long run? But Sony, PlayStation issues a survey on whether fans want to buy Nintendo Switch 2. Could this impact PlayStation's pricing going forward? Let's take a look at this survey that they have here. Sony, released a survey to PlayStation fans asking their impression of the console services and whether they will be buying a Nintendo Switch 2. For me, I'm not, man. Like, okay, I'm just waiting to hear this explanation as to why Mario Kart World is going to be worth that $80 price tag. I'm gagging for how pathetic that's going to be, and all of the spin out there going, guys, it's going to be so much bigger. Remember when we used to get like an actual increase in fidelity in gameplay in games, full stop, between console generations? But this time around, oh no, the game's going to be bigger, that's why it costs more. When you just take a look at, what's the obvious example? Grand Theft Auto. Okay, you had the top-down versions, and then the moment that they could go full 3D, did they charge you more to play GTA 3 as opposed to how much they charged you on the PlayStation? No, they didn't. One question from the survey asked, as you may already know, Nintendo announced that Nintendo Switch 2, the successor to the Switch, is releasing June 5th. What are you doing promotion for them as well? For yeah, forfeity, how interested you are purchasing the Nintendo Switch 2. The question concerns PlayStation fans as it could indicate games across Sony might see a significant price hike. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Sony has a controversial history of pricing. Yes, as nearly 20 years ago, they became the subject of their own memes for the infamous 2006 E3 press conference. Yeah, releasing the PlayStation 3 for $600. Jesus, that was the $80 version, right? Yeah, even more recently, and here's an example of gamers just going, yeah, bro, we're good. The PlayStation 5 Pro for $700, and nobody bought that bitch. Like, it doesn't pop up on any sales charts. Like, as a laughable and absurd as the reports that, oh yeah, no, yeah, the PlayStation 5 is like the third best-selling console of all time. Fucking how? There's like no games in circulation for it. Like, it's not even just the meme that, oh yeah, PlayStation doesn't have any games. It's like they do. They're just not that great. Okay, like there's only so many times that Neil Druckmann can re-release The Last of Us, it's so funny, right? Because the game just absolutely died on Steam. Didn't even check in how it did in its second weekend of release, but the first weekend of release, congratulations, it did nothing. Even with all the hype behind it with the release of season 2 of that TV show. Oh, cool, we get to see Pedro Pascal cry in a therapy session once again. Is this supposed to be a video game adaptation or his real life? So great. Probably because Ellie didn't want to, hold his hand when he got nervous in a public setting. Fuck off. But the Nintendo Switch 2 having a knock-on effect for the rest of the industry. Xbox trying to go mobile. PlayStation just getting the temperature for, okay, can we can we just finally kick the doors open to having $100 price tags on games? Can we just finally do that? Can we? Is Nintendo giving us permission? Is Rockstar going to give us permission at the end of the year? Can we just go ahead and do this? Okay, because we're really starving for profits, and instead of making good games and with Hollywood, instead of making good movies, we can just make meme movies, and people will come to the theaters and throw popcorn at the screen because chicken jockey. And for Sony, Microsoft, and for Nintendo, yeah, we can just artificially raise the prices because Nintendo's got a strong fan base and they'll have all the simps out there. GTA 6 has been a meme for about a decade and it's going to print money, but for the wider industry, once all the hype of that stuff dies down and when nobody's taken a chance on new IPs, or the moment that they hear an established franchise gets infected with whatever the mind virus of the time is, you're going to see a rapid and substantial collapse of the industry. And kind of like with Hollywood, I don't know if I should be cheerful or if I should be really sad about seeing everything that I used to love go up in flames. But we'll have to see at a later date, I suppose. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.